She was standing right there, digging her hand into my mailbox like it was her personal drawer. When I shouted, "Hey, that's federal property," she didn't even flinch. She turned, smirked, and waved a stack of my letters in the air. "You don't belong here," she said, "so your mail doesn't either." My chest tightened with anger, but I kept my voice steady. "Put it back now." She laughed like I had no power at all. "This is HOA regulation, and if you don't follow the rules, you'll regret it." That's when I realized she had no idea who she was dealing with. She crumpled one of my letters right in front of me and shoved the rest under her arm as if she owned them. "I'll report you for trespassing in your own house if you keep shouting," she hissed, her eyes wild with fake authority. I stepped closer, calm but firm. "That's not your call, and you just committed a federal crime." For a second, her smirk faded, but she quickly covered it up. "Oh, please, nobody's gonna believe you. Everyone in this neighborhood knows me, not you." What she didn't know was that a small camera above my porch light had been recording every single move she made, and I couldn't wait for her to realize how badly she just trapped herself. The next morning, I found my mailbox wide open again, empty this time. But taped on the side was a fake HOA notice in bold red letters, "Final warning, vacate in 7 days." My wife held it with shaking hands. "She can't do this, can she?" I took the paper, read the poorly printed nonsense, and almost laughed. "This isn't even legal," I said, "but she wants us scared." Just then, Karen strutted down the street, sunglasses on, clipboard in hand, waving at neighbors like she was queen of the block. She shouted across the road, "Better start packing, the HOA already voted you out." Neighbors glanced at us with pity, some even whispering. My jaw clenched, but inside I felt a strange calm. Because last night I had already sent the mailbox footage to someone who would make sure she couldn't pull this stunt again. That evening, a black SUV pulled quietly into my driveway. Karen was across the street, watering her flowers, pretending not to notice, but I saw her peeking through those oversized sunglasses. The man who stepped out wasn't just any friend. He was a federal postal inspector. He shook my hand firmly, then glanced at the camera mounted above my porch. "You said you had evidence?" I nodded and showed him the clip of Karen stealing my mail. He didn't even need to watch the whole thing before his eyebrows shot up. "That's a felony. Mail theft carries prison time." Karen froze, her hose slipping from her hand as water spilled across her lawn. She yelled nervously, "That's HOA business! You can't interfere!" The inspector turned his head slowly toward her and said, "Ma'am, the only authority here is the United States government." Karen's face turned pale, but she still tried to hold her ground. She marched over, jabbing her finger toward the inspector. "You don't understand. I run this community. He doesn't belong here." Her voice cracked, but she kept shouting, hoping neighbors would back her up. Instead, people started stepping out of their houses, watching silently. I could feel the shift, curiosity turning into judgment, all eyes on her. The inspector pulled a small badge from his jacket and held it up. The gold shimmered in the evening light. "Stealing mail is a federal offense. You impersonated an HOA authority and tampered with property you don't own." Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. I added quietly, just loud enough for the crowd, "Funny thing is, I actually own this house free and clear. No HOA, no debt. She just didn't want you to know the truth." Gasps rippled through the neighbors, and Karen's little kingdom started to crumble right there on the sidewalk. Karen suddenly lunged toward me, trying to snatch the phone from my hand where the video was saved. But before she could even touch me, the inspector stepped between us and barked, "Back off, ma'am." His voice cut through the air like a whip. She froze, trembling, but then screamed, "He's lying! He's framing me!" The inspector shook his head and pulled out a small body cam of his own. "Actually, I've been recording since I arrived. Every word you just said is on federal record." The neighbors started whispering louder now. One man muttered, "All these years she bossed us around,
And she wasn't even a real HOA? Another lady added, "She threatened to fine me last month for parking in my own driveway." Eyes turned sharp against her, the power she once had slipping like sand through her fingers. My wife squeezed my arm and whispered, "She's finished." But I wasn't done yet. I had one last card to play that would end her games forever.
I pulled a folded document from my back pocket, the original deed to my property. I held it high so every neighbor could see. This land was purchased before any so-called HOA even existed, I said firmly, which means not only does she have no authority over me, she has no authority over anyone here. A stunned silence spread, broken only by Karen's panicked voice. "That's fake! Don't listen to him!" The inspector took the deed from my hand, scanned it carefully, then nodded. "It's authentic, recorded with the county years ago. He's right. This HOA is a sham." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Neighbors began pulling out their phones, recording everything, some even cheering. Karen staggered back like the ground had been ripped from under her. "No, no, I run this street. You can't just take that from me." The inspector looked at her coldly. "You already took what wasn't yours. Now you'll answer for it." And with one motion, he reached for his handcuffs. Cuffs clicked tight around her wrists, and the entire block erupted in murmurs and gasps. Karen screamed, twisting as the inspector led her toward the SUV. "You'll regret this! I'll sue every one of you!" But nobody rushed to defend her now. In fact, a few neighbors started clapping. One man shouted, "About time!" Another laughed. "Guess HOA Karen just got evicted from her own lies." My wife leaned against me, her eyes finally calm. "It's over," she whispered. I nodded, watching Karen being pushed into the back seat, her power stripped away for good. The inspector turned to me one last time. "Good call on setting up that camera. Without proof, she might have kept getting away with it." I looked around at my neighbors, many of them smiling for the first time in months. "This is America," I said, my voice steady. "Nobody gets to steal our freedom, or our mail, or our homes. Not on my watch." And in that moment, the fear she had spread for years was gone, replaced with something stronger. Justice.